zoning regulations and supplemental district regulations, section S, 4.7, RMHP, residential manufactured home park, 4.8 RMF, residential multifamily, 4.19.3, access control, 4.19.8, exclusions from height limitations, 4.19.10, fences, walls, and hedges, 4.19.12, community redevelopment area, CRA district development standards, and 14, permitting and concurrency management, section 14.11, special permits for essential services, providing codification, authority, and severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
All right, this time we'll open it up for public comment. Right, seeing none, Mr. Curtis, would you like to elaborate just a little bit?
Yes, sir. So what we do throughout the year is keep track of situations which arise through the development process and the implementation of the land development regulations in order to identify things that would benefit the city based on amendments to the way the land development regulations reads. And so this is a compilation of everything from about a year ago through early spring. Then we had a planning board meeting and also with the input and review of our planning board attorney, which is different than Mr. Cannon. Jimmy Pravat serves in that capacity. And then we have a meeting before the planning board and go over the proposals, and they make a recommendation, which in this case they made a unanimous recommendation to the council for approval of the changes. So included in your packet is a staff report where we kind of go section by section and explain a little bit about what is being proposed to be changed. The definitions article or chapter in the code provides a basis for how those terms are used later in the code, and so it's always really important to have a good set of definitions that helps make things concise and clear when they're applied. And anything that you can do in your land development regulations to make it more specific and clear helps the development community, because then they go into a project knowing exactly what they need to do, and then there's not gray areas that are subject to interpretation or decisions that catch them off guard. So we always try to give everybody as much information on the front end when they do a project, so they know exactly what they're looking to do. Besides definitions, currently we have a manufactured home park zoning district, which we have a few of those in the city where there's manufactured homes, and the idea is, along with the changes in the definitions, to make sure that the housing that goes into those types of facilities that would meet a better standard than what's currently allowed as far as the age goes of the home. The changes to the supplementary regulations has to do with driveways and curb permits. Anytime anybody builds a house or establishes a business and there's no current driveway entrance off of the city street, there's standards that they have to meet, and we just needed to clarify how it applied between commercial and residential. There was some blending in the way it read. The exclusions from height limitations, we wanted to clarify some information on that. And then for fences, walls, and hedges, the city council last fall adopted a new fence ordinance update for the city, and we want to make sure that the LDR properly referenced that new ordinance. And then for the CRA district, currently there's not any governance to help make sure that communication towers that may be proposed in the CRA are made in an aesthetic manner that would kind of complement that redevelopment district instead of work against it. So those are the changes with that. And the special permits under Article 14 are more specific to communication towers as it relates back to the CRA district, as well as the way those are reviewed and permitted. So if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer it, but in a broad sense, that's what we're trying to do.
All right, thank you, Mr. Curtis. What will be the pleasure of the council?
Okay, I'll motion that we approve ordinance number 1517 and ordinance amending ordinance number 817.
We have a motion? And a second? We have a motion and a second. Yeah.
Mr. Jefferson, I think, made the motion.
Yeah, Mr. Jefferson made the motion and. Second. As long as we second.
I'll be second.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion, questions, comments? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First reading of ordinance 1517 passes. On to item N.
Ordinance number 1518, an ordinance of the city of Live Oak, Florida relating to public right-of-ways, making findings and vacating segments of unimproved platted street right-of-ways within the city of Live Oak, Florida as follows. A portion of Mill Street by plat, 233.80 feet by 40 feet, bounded on the south by block 10 of the Dowling addition to the city of Live Oak, bounded on the north by block 9 of the Dowling addition to the city of Live Oak, bounded on the east by Watermain or Waterman Avenue, bounded on the west by Railroad Avenue, and a portion of Park Street by plat, 141.88 feet by 40 feet, bounded on the south by Lot 1, Block 12 of the Dowling addition to the city of Live Oak, bounded on the north by Lot 4, Block 11 of the Dowling addition to the city of Live Oak, bounded on the east by the abandoned Seaboard Coastline Railroad right-of-way, and bounded on the west by a line connecting the southwest corner of Block 4, Block 11 of the Dowling addition to the city of Live Oak, and the northwest corner of Lot 1, Block 12 of the Dowling addition to the city of Live Oak, providing for recitals, conveyance, conflict, and an effective date.
All right, thank you for that. Open it up to public comment, questions, concerns. Mr. Shalhoub?
Jeff Shalhoub, 712 Park Street. Why are we doing away with these roads here?
So the city has a policy that allows applicants to petition the city council to vacate right-of-ways when they control properties on both sides of it and the right-of-ways have not been improved with any kind of surface pavement and sidewalks and street lighting and all the things you normally see. So the applicant controls the property on both sides of Mill Street by plat, which was never constructed in that area, as well as the eastern portion of Park Street that abuts the whole railroad right away. And there's a map in your packet that kind of shows the areas. So they control the property on both sides, and since those streets they're not improved, the city has never taken any stance to make improvements, and because the policy allows them to petition to close and vacate those areas. Once closed and vacated, then the property, and we have surveys also that they've supplied for all the legal descriptions, then those properties would be no longer considered public property. They would be conveyed to the applicant, or in this case the applicant, because they own all the property that abuts those right-of-ways.
And And the city would be reserving the professional.
And we reserve an
utilities
easement,
for
right.
region.
Yep.
There's no improvements to a bunch of city streets, all around Live Oak. This is probably, I know it's not used by many people, but, I mean, we use it every day. I mean, not only that, but,
This here is not a street, it's a platted street. That's actually on private property.
so
So the
everybody's
street
gonna
was
drive
never,
on private
the
property.
street was never built where it could have been built, or the path, you know,
Okay,
the informal path.
so we've been driving on private property this whole time?
Yep.
And so the city doesn't make people that don't live in none of these areas clean up any of this area at any time?
That's a code enforcement matter. We could certainly talk to the city manager
I
about
mean,
code enforcement.
Are they allowed to be digging large holes on these properties, burying trees?
The owner, to my knowledge, is cleaning the property up, to build something on it.
They pushed it all out to the city to where we couldn't pull out the seat. And then I called JL and he decides to get the city to push it all back onto their property, which cost the city money, push all that back on their property. They're still yet to clean that up. I called in on this property numerous times. They don't cut it. Somebody finally came there and cleaned it up. There's a drainage down here that's growed up, $300,000 worth of drainage right down this road right here, Waterman, that we do nothing about, just.
Who you been calling?
JL.
A couple times?
Yeah, pretty couple times. Yeah, I mean, you get no response. I mean, you get nothing done. Railroad's breaking off into the travel lane now. You got 2 and 3 inch drop-offs on Waterman there. It's just, nothing's ever done, and then we want to do away with, yeah, I understand that that's not a street, it's a path, well, everybody's been using, but hell, this lady right here's been driving down this, the lady that lives actually in front of there, across from us, been driving down for 30 years, private property. Every time I call in to ask somebody to get out there and mow it, fix it, nothing, no response. Potholes, I told JL about a month ago, hey man, the trash man is gonna fall off the garbage truck. It's funny, just laughs.
Tell you what, JL and I'll be there in the morning,
Yeah.
but we don't mow private property.
You don't mow private property?
No.
No, you don't. You ask code enforcement to get somebody around there to get it mowed. Look at all these cities, all these vacant houses that the grass has grown up in.
So we talking about this right here? Or
I'm
anything
talking
like
about,
that?
yeah, we can talk about this because all the way around this whole block right here, nobody ever gets anybody to go over there and mow anything.
Somebody's
Or do
bought-
anything. You got potholes going down the road, I call about at the entrance of Railroad and Park Street, I call in about it all the time, and then you get nobody there.
JL and I'll be there in the morning and we'll look at it, okay?
I
But
mean, what's there to look at? You
you're
got
here-
potholes, you fix a storm drain, a sewer drain right down the, road from this, you fix a storm drain, you leave it sticking up a foot.
Mr. Lou, Jeff, hey, I just wanted to, just bring to your attention, I understand you're frustrated, I'm not familiar with this particular area.
Okay.
But,
Okay, I don't know.
no, you're good. The best route though would be instead of,
Well, I mean, I just see all these
Here.
signs going up around here, and I'm just, this is what
I
I
understand.
understand I took it off the record there a little bit,
I respect your upset, I get it, but the better course of action, in my opinion, would be to deal with this, like what Mr. Sessions
Just come
says,
see me,
outside
I'm
of
the
this.
complaint department.
but,
Yes, sir.
We just
I
come see
understand
me
you're
if you have a
frustrated,
problem.
but we're not gonna miss
but I wanna go and prove all this, and then it's all said and done, you know what I mean? I ain't
I
no,
understand your frustration, but this is probably not the right place to,
but how you gonna allow somebody to drive on private property for 30 years?
yeah, and again, I'm not familiar 100% with
You know, I
this
mean,
area.
hell, we can
Trying
all
to
start
fix it.
driving across people's property now.
But we're trying to do the right thing now, right? That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, once you give that up, then they ain't gonna fix that. They're not gonna put a road through there. They're wanting to give it up, and they didn't never put a road there that they say that's there now.
Well, if it's private property, then.
But there's already a spot for the road that they never put there. They said they used the man's private property,
What-
so evidently it's okay.
Mr. Schmidt, what if somebody that owns that property now decides to put a multifamily unit across the whole piece of property?
I
They
can't
don't
help
need
it, they do.
They don't need it
No,
anymore, right?
Well, that's like I said, you don't use that. It's not a big deal to you. You don't live there.
You're right.
Again, I
That's
think,
right.
I
You're
think
never
it's
gonna drive
not,
down there. You might
I'll
only
be
see
there
you
in the
one
morning.
time tomorrow.
I'll be there in the morning.
I'll see you tomorrow, one time.
all right. Thanks, Jeff. All right, any other public comment, concern? All right, hearing none, seeing none, we'll close that portion. What would be the pleasure of the council?
All right, well,
Item
In-
N, ordinance 1518.
all right, Mr. President, I'll motion that we will approve ordinance number 1518.
All right, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. First reading of ordinance 1518 passes. I have a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, before we,
Comments?
now this is the first reading, right?
First, we come back up.
And will he be allowed to come back up on the second reading?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There'll be another public hearing.
All right,
Just first.
so then, let Mr. Sessions and Mr. Gerald Lee follow what they got, and follow up with you and all that, and then I guess if you're not satisfied, you still have a chance to come back. And then,
I'll be back, brother.
well, let's, hopefully we get things done.
All right.
Thank y'all for coming.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, congratulations to the new council member.
All motion, second that motion.
All right. Adjourn.